Hey there, lovelies, and welcome to this week's episode of Secrets to Sanity. On today's episode, the theme is learning to love your crazy. And this is a topic that is very close to my heart because, let's face it, we're all crazy. We're all a million different shades of crazy. We are all completely nuts in our own beautifully neurotic ways, and learning to cultivate compassion for ourselves and learning to really own this and accept these beautiful parts of ourselves, I think is incredibly important in our journey to peace and happiness in life. Now, mental health is a topic, that's in the news a lot. It's a really big topic because it applies to all of us. As a society, we like to think that the stigma is being debunked, but at the end of the day, I really believe that we think this because on a lot of levels we don't think it applies to us. And just because we might not suffer from schizophrenia or manic depression, it doesn't mean that we don't struggle with our mental health. I mean, in this complex and completely crazy world, we all know what it is to suffer from stress, anxiety, worry, depression. I mean, these are things that affect our day-to-day life. And so accepting that that is a part of our life, but also realizing that that doesn't have to define our life is really important to me. So much of our suffering on a day-to-day basis is internal. It's to do with our thoughts and emotions and the stress, anxiety, and worry that comes out of the emphasis that we place on those thoughts and emotions. Thoughts really dictate both our internal and external experience in this life. And if we're completely overwhelmed with our thoughts on a day-to-day basis, then we don't have a chance at cultivating calm. So the toxic thought detox is my favorite exercise to help us start to weed out some of those toxic thoughts and move towards creating some peace in our mind and our life. Most people feel as though there are a million thoughts going through their mind on a day-to-day basis that create worry, stress, anxiety. But in reality, most of us are replaying a lot of the same thoughts over and over. Now, those thoughts might just be a little thought to begin with, but if we are replaying them over and over and attaching meaning, attaching effort, attaching anxiety onto those things, those little thoughts cumulatively have become very, very large clouds over our mind. So what we want to start to do is to isolate those thoughts individually so then we can start to take the power back. Because what you'll notice is what might feel like is 100 thoughts in the mind might be the same 3 to 5 toxic thoughts playing over and over in the mind. So what exactly is a toxic thought detox? Well, next time you find yourself in an emotionally triggered situation, and sidebar, any emotionally triggered situation to me means any situation that you find yourself in where you're having a disproportionate response to what's happening in your surroundings. So if you find yourself incredibly enraged with your partner, but you're not really sure why, or if you find you're having an anxiety attack in the Starbucks line, this would be a situation where you want to remove yourself from that situation. You want to sit down with a pencil and a pen or the notes section of your iPhone and ask yourself 2 questions. What am I thinking and what am I feeling? Now, these are really important questions because what we want to do is start finding a pattern in these situations of the thoughts, sensations, and emotions that are coming up for us regularly. So question number 1, what am I thinking? So are there any thoughts? Can you track your behavior back and find one particular thought that really set you off? If over the next week you decide to ask yourself that question every time you find yourself triggered in any way, then over time what this does is that it helps us start connecting to what actually is going on in our mind and our body, so that situations that feel completely out of our control all of a sudden are within our control. We can see what got us from point A to point B. We can see what got us from someone's individual thought to our exacerbated emotional state. So over the next week or 2 weeks or a month, what you want to do is have a little thought diary. Every time you find yourself in one of these triggered situations, you want to write down 3 to 5 thoughts that come up and what you were feeling in that moment. So what you were feeling, either emotionally or physically. So if my thought is, I am a complete failure, what sensations, both physically and emotionally, go along with that thought for me? Well, maybe I have a tightness in my chest. Maybe I have tingling in my hands. So we want to be very specific about what we're experiencing so we can snap ourselves back into our body and back into the present moment. And when it comes to emotionally, we want to be very specific. So, am I feeling hopeless? Am I feeling lonely? Am I feeling sadness? And then, like magic, over time, you'll start to notice that, oh, wait, there aren't actually a million thoughts running through my mind every day. It's actually the same handful of thoughts that are causing the same problems for me day after day, week after week, year after year. So once we have this information, we have so much more power over our situation, and we can start to rein ourselves in. We can start, instead of moving all the way to the anxiety attack, we can start to catch it earlier and earlier. We can see the patterns that go along with our thoughts and our actions and behaviors, and then our emotional states that come out of those. So this is a really, really, really powerful tool to help you be more present in the mind and body, and over time really help create some calm. So until next time, I hope that you will all be relentlessly kind and compassionate with yourselves and try your very best to love your crazy. And I will see y'all soon.